The sky is falling again. The sky is falling again. Bitcoin Cash comes to Coinbase and some people are freaking out. Panic selling is taking place and it reminds me of something. Oh yeah, that time where people have panicked before. Rest easy, my friends. Travis and I are here to be the voice of reason and to explore the issues surrounding the great Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash debate. Blockchain's here to stay. And we may be as well. Welcome to a special Sky is Falling Quickie edition of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, ignition.
Who's bad?
Oh my gosh, what a night. This is a special episode. One of those instances, something's happened today that made us go, we have to just record a show. Even though we just released an episode, this is one of those spontaneous things. And it happened at about, what was it, 8 p.m. Eastern time? Is that right, Travis?
It's been going on, this evening. It looks like it happened sometime around there. I don't know exactly. It just started to rise. Well, I'm not seeing the exact time on this particular screen that I'm on. What time? Yeah, actually, Bitcoin Cash was going up on its own a little bit today. It was kind of rising. Like it went up to like 2,100, 2,400. And then that was its all-time high from whenever it had that pop after the Bitcoin gold fork or whatever a few weeks ago. It had that pop, and then it kind of went down and was chilling. Now it had another big pop, and this pop went poppity pop.
And yeah, pop. And here's the reason. The reason is that Coinbase has added Bitcoin Cash to their exchange, joining Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum as the fourth currency to be available to buy, sell, send, and receive on the most popular exchange, at least in the Western world. And so there it is. And things blew up to the point, Travis, that trading on both Coinbase and GDAX, which is like the backdoor to Coinbase, are halted.
Yeah, I'm curious, like what was the price of Litecoin and Ethereum right whenever it went onto Coinbase? Because, that we started doing the show in July and that had already happened. Ethereum and Litecoin were already on Coinbase. I wonder how did that impact the price of Litecoin then? I'm curious what Litecoin was whenever they made that join, because it was sitting at around $2,000. Oh, it's going on Coinbase. Boom. Then on GDAX, it says it's like $9,500, but that looks like a glitch and they stopped trading at that particular time. But
that's messed up. Both
it's around $4,000 right now.
Well, if we go to Coin Market Cap, I'm showing 3,600 is the average right now. And, of course, the moment it happened. So here's what happened. People who had Bitcoin Cash in their wallets, or were due Bitcoin Cash in their wallets on Coinbase, they received those right away, but they couldn't trade them yet. There was like another hour or so in order to have sufficient liquidity on GDAX. Says it would take a few hours. There's actually in the show notes, we've linked Coinbase.com's blog that talks about the Bitcoin Cash fork, which happened on August 1st. And you might remember that people who are on Coinbase and holding Bitcoin, they didn't get the fork. And there was an uprising from the customer base. And so Coinbase decided, okay, we will support the fork and you will get a Bitcoin Cash for every Bitcoin that you were holding in your wallet on August 1st. Well, Travis, we've been talking about Coinbase adding new currencies, and we thought that January was going to be the day that Bitcoin Cash was available. But it's clearly not, because it's December 19th and they just sprung it on us.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, because that rumor was getting out because the price of Bitcoin Cash, you could see that it was slowly growing up. And then like, what? Bitcoin Cash is at 2,400 or something? And then it took off. You want to talk about your unfortunate timing you had today, Mr. Joel Comm?
Yeah. So, well, I've had a little bit of Bitcoin Cash, just a few Bitcoin Cash, and I saw it going up, and I think I got out around 2,900, and it's sitting at about 3,600 right now. So, whether or not it's going to go up still or not remains to be seen.
It was at 3,600 at that's or 2,900 whenever because you said that you put it in like 2 minutes before Coinbase showed up.
That's why I sold it, because I saw it going up. And I sold it, and then 2 minutes later, I got a CoinVision messenger bot on my Facebook with the story: Bitcoin Cash added to Coinbase. So timing was horrendous, but it was a profitable trade overall. So I'm happy with that. As I say, you never feel bad about taking a profit, even if you could have made more. Taking a profit's always better than taking a loss. But as long as we're picking on me, Mr. Travis Wright, how about we spin this? And when we talked in the past and I was asked, which coin do I think will be added next to Coinbase? What did Mr. Joel Com say?
Mr. Joel Com, I recall you said that Bitcoin Cash would be added to Coinbase next. I said Ripple would be the next one.
So, and then there was that screenshot that went out that was circulating, which we think was fake. What did it? Remember, it was allegedly somebody on the Coinbase support team had leaked a screenshot indicating which coins were going to be added next. What were on there?
Yeah, Bitcoin Cash was not. Dash, Ripple, and Monero. It said those are the new coins that are coming to the Coinbase platform in 2018. Hey, maybe they're not lying because Bitcoin Cash came in 2017.
Yeah, no, they may not be lying at all. In fact, we know that, is it Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, had said that they're going to be adding several coins. So this is just the beginning. But my prediction was Bitcoin Cash would be next. And the logic in that was that we knew that they were going to issue Bitcoin Cash to everybody who was holding Bitcoin. And so it seemed like the next logical progression. By the way, I don't keep Bitcoin on Coinbase. I keep it in a wallet, but interestingly enough, I had a trace amount of Bitcoin. I had dust in my wallet. So now I have 0.0064 Bitcoin Cash, which is currently worth $22.17. So, my Coinbase account has a little extra monies in it right now.
Well, that's great because I've not been able to get into my Coinbase account to see because it keeps getting like errors. It's getting pounded, I think, by people trying to go to Coinbase right now. Because you can imagine over these last 3 weeks, each one of the weeks, $100 billion new dollars has entered the market. And if they're in America, most of the time they're coming in through Coinbase, right? Okay. Coinbase is starting to pop up here now. Oh, wow. There we go.
Yeah, it's finally back. And so here's what happened about an hour ago when we talked about getting on to record the show. And I said, hey, Mr. Travis Wright, we need to wait because I've got Chinese food on the way. And I had some delicious chicken broccoli that was extra spicy. So my sinuses are clear. But at that time, we were looking at Coinbase and people were freaking out because it said Bitcoin Cash was at 8,499. And when we looked at GDAX, people were asking 9,500, but they had halted trading. And I'm not sure if it's because, in fact, GDAX is still halted. I'm looking at it right now. It's stuck at 9,500, but I don't think anybody actually made a buy or a sell. I guess like maybe they did because it is showing.
The side. No, there was some serious arbitrage stuff going on there potentially. I mean, it looked like, and then Coinbase halted the trading. GDAX was halted. It's still halted right now, but it said $9,500 for a Bitcoin Cash at that particular time. Then it stopped, and it's pretty wild. But now I can finally actually get back to Coinbase. Bitcoin is now up over 1,700, and this is Bitcoin Cash is at 3,300, Ethereum 801, and Litecoin at 333.
Did you say Bitcoin at 1,700? You do mean 17,000?
Yeah, 17,006.
Well, the whole market, it was really interesting watching, Travis, because as soon as this hit, people in the Telegram group start freaking out. People on Reddit start freaking out. And I'm watching everything go red except for Bitcoin Cash. And I've seen this happen before, as have you. And those who have been in Bitcoin for, 4 or 5 years have seen it more times than they can count. And I know that as soon as you start seeing all red, after a short time, you're going to see all green again. And as I scroll through the top 100, it's lit up like a green Christmas tree. It is mostly green. People are, bought dips, they're buying back in, and Bitcoin is sitting at 17,000. So and Ethereum went back to 800 again. So is this the flippening? Maybe we need to dig in a little bit here and talk a little bit about what's happening.
Well, it's hard to say if that's necessarily the case. The flippening, that's a big conversation that's been taking place in the space for what kind of rumors, like, oh, the flippening, is it going to happen? But, there's so, like you mentioned.
What's the flippening? What does that mean?
So the flippening, that is really the theory behind that is where maybe Bitcoin Cash would overtake Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin Cash becomes the new Bitcoin. That's the promise that Roger Ver is hoping for, because he's put a lot of his money in Bitcoin Cash, right? He's the guy who owns Bitcoin.com, but he's a big proponent of Bitcoin Cash. He hates it when people call it Bcash. So I normally call it Bcash.
It's not Bcash.
It's not Bcash, and I just ignore it. Most of the time I just kind of ignore it. But really, probably a more prudent approach in case this flippening ever did happen. However much Bitcoin you have, if you have one whole Bitcoin, then maybe get one whole Bitcoin Cash too, just in case, those crazy, people with all this massive amounts of hash power work together and try to create some sort of flip of some sort. I don't know if it's possible, but it's interesting to think about, because the transaction speeds are much quicker on Bitcoin Cash, Bcash. And if you look at blocktivity.info and check out that, you can see the blockchain capacity utilization index of each crypto blockchain. And, Bitcoin's sitting at 100% capacity all of the time, and it normally has 100,000 transactions in the queue at most any time. Ethereum, same thing. It's at 100%, but it has like about 20 to 30,000, transactions in the queue at any time. Bitcoin Cash, it's sitting at 5% of its capacity. Like it's got so much space and availability for transactions, and they're quick, and the fees are much smaller. I mean, I really don't like, paying $20 to send them money sometimes.
I sent mine from my wallet to an exchange earlier today before this all happened, and it took 30 minutes for the 6 confirmations. I wouldn't exactly call that fast, Mr. Travis, right?
What, for Bitcoin Cash?
Yeah, it took 30 minutes for Bitcoin Cash to get from my wallet to an exchange.
Well, maybe there was an extraordinary amount of Bitcoin Cash being transferred because they knew the shenanigans were about to start happening.
Well, and there's the point. So what if their blocks fill up? Then what's really the difference? By the way, this update just came from GDAX. They put out that all Bitcoin Cash books will enter cancel only mode, and all existing orders will be cleared. While in cancel only mode, no new orders will be accepted. We will post an update shortly. So basically, they're taking some liquid plumber to the exchange and doing some Drano on it to flush it out, because it's obviously borked. I mean, when we saw 8,500, 9,500, like there's no way that it's flying up that fast and trading is going to continue.
Well, man, I mean, that was a freaky moment, actually. Like, are we serious? Is Bitcoin Cash really $9,500 right now? Like, no way. That doesn't make any sense. And then you're looking at it and going, but it says it right here. What's going on? Here's, I think, what do you think about Coinbase? I think that this was not a thoughtful move on their part, maybe even irresponsible to not announce at least 24 hours in advance that this was going to happen. This is interesting, Travis. There's a tweet from Coinbase from today, and this was after Bitcoin Cash went live. And it says, Coinbase maintains a strict trading policy and internal guidelines for employees. Coinbase employees have been prohibited from trading in Bitcoin Cash for several weeks. Yeah, so that's good to know, because imagine this, like they know in advance that Bitcoin Cash is getting ready to pop into, Coinbase. Why doesn't Coinbase announce that ahead of time? Why do they keep it so secretive and prohibit employees? They should literally say, here's what's going to happen. Let everybody know, because isn't this a transparent industry that we're in? No, we want transparency.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a couple other tweets that we discovered that definitely lead you to think something could be janky there. At I Am Nomad said, hey, at Coinbase, GDAX, and Brian Armstrong, by being part of a product index for the CME group, you agreed to certain rules. Since Bitcoin Cash news was clearly leaked around 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time to certain parties, this qualifies as insider trading. Hope you enjoy the incoming complaints. And of course, CME Group just started futures trading on Sunday,
right?
And this is Tuesday. So
right.
They break
well,
the rules?
That's one of those things we don't know, but things like this is going to be what causes the SEC and whatnot to crack down, because it looks like there's some shady dealings going on. When you're watching this and all of a sudden Bitcoin Cash just shoots up and then Bitcoin, tanks down to 14,000, it loses $5,000. Like, and how long did it take to lose that $5,000? And then, money's pouring into Bitcoin Cash. Boom, Bitcoin Cash blows. It's crazy when you watch it and see how it all transpires. It makes you look like, man, there's some insider stuff going down, it looks like.
Well, and if you want to really latch onto the conspiracy theories, you found this tweet from Francis Pouliot, who says, is Coinbase smart enough to have timed this announcement with Bitcoin mining difficulty retarget period, which means it's where it gets more difficult, peak meme pool text fees right after CME Group futures bull run to maximize damage to Bitcoin and compound Bcash trading gains with news spin cycle. He's actually got a poll here asking people. And I'm going to say yes to this poll because I think, and so does 67% of the people who voted.
Really? It could be yes. I mean, are they just that dumb? And then the other one is others calling the shots, or it's a total coincidence? I don't know off the top of my head. They could have been just dumb, but I doubt that. I mean, 2 days after the CME Group, that thing has gone into play. Nobody has talked about when Coinbase was going to add Bcash. You had mentioned you thought Bcash was going to be the next one because of back in the day when that fork originally happened. We discussed that. So we knew it was coming. We didn't know when. And then it almost seems like they kept it silent so a bunch of people could score really big, and then things level back out. It's weird.
This isn't the first time this has happened with Bitcoin Cash. Remember, it was sitting around $300 back in, October, maybe? September, October. And in Bitcoin was about $3,000, maybe it was more, $4,000, $4,000 to $5,000. I remember now. I see the prices going up even as I talk. It was about $4,000 to $5,000, and Bitcoin Cash went on a run, and it hit 2,400 before it then hit a low of about 1,100 and kind of found its new base. And that was, some thought, that's a hostile takeover, that there is a concerted effort to displace Bitcoin with Bitcoin Cash. And what was really funny, Travis, is maybe we should find this video. I watched it today. It was Andreas Antonopoulos, who is yet to be a guest on our show, but we are hopeful that one day he soon will be. And he was talking back in March or April at an event at how Bitcoin has been attacked and will be attacked again and again from every different angle. And it was really funny that I watched that earlier today, and then it happened today.
It could have been a hostile takeover at that particular time because, like, as you mentioned, Bitcoin was like at around $5,000-6,000, right? $7,000, maybe. I don't know exactly. And then Bitcoin Cash, all of a sudden, it took off from like 500 and then flashed up to 2,400, and Bitcoin came down to like 4,000. I'm like, it looked like it could have been a flippening at that particular point. But now, when you look at this, when Bitcoin is sitting at $19,700, and then how when it's worth like what, 300 and something $50 billion worth of market cap, just Bitcoin alone, like who is that big of a whale that can move the markets that much when there's $350 billion in Bitcoin? I mean, now it seems like the flippening is not as likely as it could have been back when it was 5 and whatever, because that could have been a flip. Now the numbers are just so big. It's like, how do you do that?
Well, I'm thinking, can't we all just get along? Isn't there room for both Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash? Bitcoin has been seen as digital gold. It's a store of wealth. And the initial promise and vision of Satoshi Nakamoto was to be able to have a trustless system whereby you could send payments from one person or entity to another with, with lower fees and with security and have a system that works. I don't know that the promise was ever that, you'd be able to use this to, buy your McDonald's with and have an instant transaction. Although some of the debit cards we're seeing come out now are, providing that solution. And maybe Bitcoin ends up just being exactly that, the granddaddy, the big daddy, the store of wealth, the digital gold. And maybe Bitcoin Cash does become a form of payments that are faster with lower fees. Isn't that okay? Can't we have our cake and ice cream? Because I like them both together.
We can have our Bitcoin and our Bcash, but we just got to call it Bcash because it pisses off Roger Ver, and that's funny.
See, I'm still not sure how I feel about it. There's definitely benefits to Bitcoin Cash, right? Mm-hmm. Some of the things we've talked about, and we'll link this coinsutra.com article in the show notes. It's fast, or at least allegedly fast. Again, my earlier transaction, and by transaction, I just mean moving it from one location to another, took 30 minutes. Simple, okay. Reliable, all right, I guess so. Stable, low fees, and secure. But there's also downsides to it, Travis.
Well, one of the big downsides to me, Joel, I don't know about you, but to me, it seems like a decentralized cryptocurrency. Should it have a CEO? I mean, how does it have a CEO if it is a cryptocurrency? And then it seems to me that it's more of a business than a decentralized crypto. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, well, it can't be decentralized. It is centralized, kind of like Ripple is centralized. Although I'm not going to speak too much to that because we still need to get a little bit of education about Ripple. And in fact, we have the CEO of Ripple is going to be on an episode soon to discuss this. The second thing to be aware of is the mining. Bitcoin Cash mining is very centralized. And there's a chart here on this article that we're looking at that it's really just a handful of miners that are dealing with the majority of the blocks. And so they have all the hash power distribution. And if you have more than 50% of hash power, then you can have what they call a 51% attack, where the three biggest mining parties can decide exactly what to do without, any type of consensus. And that's very centralized.
Yeah, those three big mining pools, those big groups of miners, that right there is not the vision of Satoshi Nakamoto. It's almost like I wish he had put like a cap on hashing power that they could have had, because that way more people could, participate in the mining, because you can't use a laptop and a computer anymore and mine for any, Bitcoin. But that was the idea originally, like to let people do that. Well, then they started doing the GPU computers and then the ASIC computers and then the mining. You have to have such amazing equipment to be able to do effective Bitcoin mining now, and even Bitcoin Cash mining for that point, that it's impossible for the little guys to be able to do that. So when you have 3 or 4 of those, it's almost like the media in America in one way, because look, we only have like 4 or 5 companies maybe that own all of the big media conglomerates. And so if we're sitting in Bitcoin and we're talking about a decentralized cryptocurrency that's great for the masses and all this stuff, when 3 big mining pools control the majority of the hash power, that's dangerous. So that's one of the reasons why, to me, personally, over Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, or either one of those, I think Litecoin's a better Bitcoin than Bitcoin at this point. The transactions are smoking fast. You're not using any of the capacity of this thing, but that mining is a problem. And then it totally eliminates the decentralization. And I guess Bitcoin Cash is actually centralized as well.
It sure feels and looks that way. The other thing is that there's a lot fewer nodes out there than Bitcoin. There's more than 10,000 active full nodes that are managing Bitcoin right now. And so that is really decentralized. If you're going to try to hijack it, you've got to get more than 50% of those 10,000 nodes in order to do it, which has never been done. But Travis, Bitcoin Cash has only around 1,200 nodes. Mm-hmm. So that is centralized as well.
Yeah, 1,240 nodes. Another one is kind of crazy with the hard forks without polls, right? So basically, who does hard forks? It says this in the article. Who does hard forks or upgrades in the cryptocurrency protocols without polls? Bitcoin Cash does. And Bitcoin Cash, they said, hey, we're going to do a fork. There was a little argument, I guess, within the Bitcoin core. And then these guys who pulled off of Bitcoin said, we're going to fork Bitcoin. And that happened back in August. And here we are today. Now, but really, what is the additional value that Bitcoin Cash brings that it should be worth $4,000 at this point? I don't see a utility. It's basically like they just kind of split the coin and said, hey, we're it too. Like it's so bogus.
Well, here's this thing, and I want to speak intelligently about this, and because I'm not fully informed on everybody's position, my understanding is that the Bitcoin proponents feel that Bitcoin as it is truest to Satoshi Nakamoto's vision. Those who believe in Bitcoin Cash believe that their Bitcoin is the more pure form of Bitcoin that would have been according to Nakamoto's vision. And they may be right, but I kind of see this, Travis, the way that some people, without getting overly political here, because I know that offends a few of you, and oh well, be offended. Go listen to the Good Crypto podcast because they don't offend anybody ever. But if you don't offend somebody every now and then, you're not really saying much of anything.
That's true.
But there are those that are that believe in the Constitution. Of course, this is for our United States listeners. This is closer to home. For those of you that aren't, Americans, you still understand we have a Constitution that is our founding document. And there are those who believe that what our founding fathers put down in that document is timeless. And there's some things that are just, you should not change because they're founding principles. There are others that say, well, the times change, and so the intent can change, and it's a living, breathing document that can be modified. And of course, we've had modifications over the years, so I'm not against that. I'm not an absolute purist. I'm saying it could happen, and in some ways, I kind of feel like those that are Bitcoin cashies are, maybe interpreting the spirit of what Satoshi Nakamoto was proposing in a evolutionary way. I don't know. Just from the top of my head. That's all I got.
Well, potentially. But, the thing is typically in these kinds of conversations, both sides think they're right. Both sides, in a lot of ways, are most people, aren't that flexible in their opinions. They'd rather fight than find a common ground. It would have been better to find a common ground, because then now we have Bitcoin Diamond and Super Bitcoin and all these other bullshit forks that have happened. And now we're starting to see like Litecoin Plus, like this, that's ridiculous. And that's one thing I wish there were guidelines on, some founding principles of that. We really need to have the crypto constitution created. That way bullshit like that can't happen. I don't know how many times I can say bullshit in an episode, but I think this is a record.
That is a record. Well, this bad crypto quickie is gone on for longer than a quickie usually goes on. But if we just look at the markets right now, and we're recording this on Tuesday night, and it's about 8:00 here in Denver, 9:00 there in Kansas City, where Travis's Chiefs are having a great season, and very late on the other side of the world. And some people waking up to this are going to be like, what the heck just happened? Bitcoin is on CoinMarketCap over 17,000, Bitcoin Cash at 3380, Ethereum really close to its all-time high of 804, Litecoin 334, Ripple 77 cents. Blockchain is here to stay, gang. It ain't going away. Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, that's not what it's about. It's about blockchain. It's about a revolutionary change in the way that we deal with banking, payments, contracts, and you're here at the right time, because these are exciting times to be alive.
That is absolutely true. We're sitting at right now, it's $607 billion in market cap. I mean, the money's going to flow from different places. Bitcoin's already back up to almost $17,200. And when you're looking at these numbers, Bitcoin Cash grew some. That's great. But normally the money just flows to different places. It's wild. You can see sometime where it's like, oh my God, everything is red. It's all red. And then like you have days like yesterday, you're like, well, oh my God, like everything is green. So as long as you keep a steady keel and don't freak out too much on the lows, and don't freak out too much on the highs, just keep a nice little steady keel and just keep hodling and it's going to keep growing. I mean, look at where we're getting. Guess what's probably going to happen this week? Well, probably another 100 billion is probably going to come into the market because guess what? Bitcoin Cash is in there. So who knows? We're going to probably see by the first part of next year, $200 billion a week coming into the market. What do you think is going to happen to all these other coins if that ends up happening?
Now, Mr. Travis Wright, you don't know that because you are not a financial advisor.
I am not, but I mean, it's like this is what's happening. Here's what's been happening. If you look at the last 6 months, it's growing, and like, where is it going to be? How long until $1 trillion comes in 1 week in the crypto space?
Not long. Well, I think thank you everybody for listening and tolerating this extra episode. Hope that alleviates any of your fears. And for me, I'd like to remember the times that I've seen the big dips. By the way, this wasn't even a big dip, although somebody, Travis, did do a sell somewhere around 14,500. Bitcoin briefly fell that far. And somebody gave away their Bitcoin really cheap.
Tell you what, folks, we love you. That's why we keep creating this content for you. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of this. We're having a great time. Holidays are here. I hope you have an amazing time with your families over these next couple of weeks. And we hope that 2018 is the most bestest for each one of you that you've ever had. So much love to each one of you. And what else do we have on the...
Stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.